We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính Đại Đức Tặng Thinh, Mi thứ Pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Thính chuyên diệu pháp luân, giáo đạo hạ môn. Như há liêu sanh thoát tư, ly khổ đạt lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. How much is the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one? Nam mô Sa Đần Thổ Sư Chế Đô Dê Ở La Hư Đi San Mèo San Pu Tổ Xie. Nam mô Tát Đắc Tha Tô Già Đà Già La Ha Đế Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Thoa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom and thus come one true and actual doctrines. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jie wen de xiao chi yuan jie ru lai zhen shi yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Jingliang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns and all good advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Lăng Lương Đại sư, Thượng Tiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức, A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 22nd of August 2025. Thank you for joining our discussion of the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra. We're right now on slide 1505. Okay, before we get started, I just noticed something that pleases me to no end. I've noticed that one woman now has certified to, at least now as I pay attention, to first stage arhatship. That's impressive because this woman doesn't understand anything. Try to teach her Buddhism. I'm here to relax. But she works in the kitchen, so all the merit and virtue should go to Master XT. I had nothing to do with it, because XT is the one who really gave her a hard time. Okay? It's so impressive. You think some old women are stupid? Yeah, they are, but they can certify to first stage arhatship. You don't know how big of a deal it is. When I first met Teji Chunim. I forgot the name already. First time I saw her something like 5 years ago. Yeah? Am I correct? 4 years ago. She was, the very first time she talked to me, she was first stage arhatship. And so I talked to her, and then another year went by, and I looked at her again. Wow, now you're second stage arhat. Okay? And so this is a woman who practiced vigorously and would go to all the temples just to cultivate. And then in contrast, a woman who does nothing but pick a fight with Xian Tong. And yet, how is it possible? Am I pulling your leg? I don't know how it happened. Again, it's all Xian Tong's magic. I have no clues. Okay? But I look at her and say, you have the Samadhi of first stage arhat. You think first stage arhat is what? A name? No. It's taking a beating and not run away. Yeah? Admit it. You're not as impressed by XT anymore. Before XT used to beat up on you and hurt, right? Now I say, I can take it. What do you have to say for yourself? Bà già. Bà già gọi như kiểu như là sơ quả là hang là lớn lắm, trong cái Phật giáo là lớn lắm. For the Hinayana people, she considered to be enlightened. Old woman, useless woman, enlightened. How is it possible? I got to be lying to you. Yeah, because most people who are not first day are, well, Master YongHua has went out his rockers. I mean, he's lost it. Old woman, what do you have to say for yourself? Now someone has to translate for me. I don't know what she's talking about. She talks to me every day, bring me food every day. I have no idea what she's talking about. I have no idea. Let me tell you. Yeah, no need to translate because I have no idea. Tinh bất thuận. Okay, every day I talk to her, but I don't understand what she's talking about. I just smile. Yeah, okay. Okay. So what's the moral of the story? How did she get there? Number one, help out with sincerity. Many of you will come and say, I help because I have something up my sleeve. She helps because she's bored to death. There's nothing else for her to do. Okay? But regardless, she helps because she says, I really want to help. Okay? Number two. What's number two? If you can survive Xian Tong, there's nothing you cannot do. Xian Tong used to butt heads with her, and it hurt. I look at her getting hurt. I said, okay, that's it. We won't see her anymore. But no, a few days later, she came back. Probably bored to death, having nothing to do at home. Huh? Okay? So the point here is that you need to have blessings, right? And you need not to run away when it's difficult. That's our secret. That's our secret sauce. It's not supposed to be pleasant for you. If it's pleasant, we're not doing our jobs. Got that? I know many of you, especially you Vietnam people like her, Come to the temple hoping to be having a good time, to have and be happy and be pleasant and be peaceful. You come to the wrong place. Okay? If you want to improve, it's gonna not be easy for you. Invariably, that's what happens to all of you. Yes, it'll be pleasant initially, but eventually you run to something that's difficult for you to take. Okay? As long as you don't run away, you have a chance to improve. Many of my disciples who've been here much longer and that's old stupid woman, they still don't get it. They run away and say, why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult? Why am I suffering? I'm not supposed to be suffering. Master says I'm enlightened. If you're enlightened, yeah, you don't suffer. But when you suffer a lot more than before. Loser. Oh, well, I have so many secrets and you guys have no clues. Okay? So you have two choices. You don't believe, take a walk. Don't come back. Okay? You believe, you have to tough it out. And there are many losers who left already and they're not coming back because they still don't get it after all these years. Okay? Hang in there. Look at this stupid woman. If she makes it, then you can make it too. Huh? But you ain't seen nothing yet. First stage arhatship is nothing for us. In Mahayana, first stage arhat is nothing. It's a big deal. In next lifetime, she become a left-home person. She'll have temple, she'll have cars, she'll have houses. She has all sorts of goodies if she wants. First stage arhat means you get there, means that you have blessings. And lots of blessings. You are very, very wealthy. If that's what you want to be, wealthy. Okay? So, you have to think bigger. You are chasing after small things, people. Look around you. There's such outstanding people. Really like stupid woman right there. She's very simple-minded. You won't see her bragging about her understanding of Buddhism, of Chan, of Pure Land, whatever. She just minds her business. But Samadhi, first stage arhat is Samadhi. And what is that Samadhi? Samadhi that can take a beating and not run away. You can take it. That's strength. Strength is to be able to take a beating and not lose faith. Strength is not measured by how good you are at beating others, not in a spiritual world. Spiritual world, if you really are strong, you never beat up on others. That's why in a spiritual world, we measure your strength by how well you can take a beating, not how well you can beat up on others. This is the difference between you, my disciples, and Master YongHua disciples. His disciples beat up on you, beat up on each other to measure their strength. They beat up on you If you run away and say, you're weak, I'm stronger than you, ha ha ha. Okay? Here in our world, we let others beat it on us. That's why I used to send my people to his temples, Master Hsien Yun's temples, and I warn them, I said, you go there, they're going to attack you. Okay? Let me tell you, it's going to hurt, but they cannot harm you because you're stronger than they are. Very much like you have a body, someone comes up to you, hit you, of course it's going to hurt, but you recover, right? That's the difference. You work out, you build your muscles, they punch in the gut. It hurts, but you recover. You don't die. Okay? That's how they measure their strength. I measure your strength by, if you can take a beating from that idiot, that means you're stronger than that idiot. You're not stronger, oops, you die. See a difference in approach? I don't teach you how to attack others. Actually, I dissuade you from attacking others. Because I'd rather that others attack you. And after a while, I don't send you to over there anymore because they're creating offenses. They can't harm you anymore. They can't even hurt you anymore. It's boring. It's a waste of time for you to drive so far for nothing. I'd rather go to Muir Woods and enjoy nature and get a lot more out of it. So what's about this woman? Well, her samadhi level is there, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. No one can take it from her. Next lifetime, she probably a man. Looking at her, she probably a man next time. And she'll probably be a king somewhere. And then she'll call up Xian Tung and say, remember me? And then you tell Xian Tung, get on your knees. Because I still remember you. And this is why you don't create offenses. You intentionally attack others, you're creating severe offenses. You will suffer big time. You will fall big time. That's why no matter what, if you're stronger, you're supposed to take it, not dish out. Okay? Or you're supposed to protect others. Okay? I take that woman, I throw her to Master Hsien Yun's temple and tell any of them, see if you can hurt her, because I will protect her. They cannot break through my protection. That's what we do. We protect people. We take a beating, or next level, you protect people. They cannot get hurt. They will not get hurt. Okay, so when you go to those places, those temples, let me know. I have nothing to worry about. But don't provoke people, okay? Any questions? Look how happy she is now. So how much Buddhism, how much sutras do you need to understand? Not a whole lot. But then why are we studying Avatamsaka Sutra? This is for you to become a Buddha. The Buddha is quite different from first stage Arhat. Okay, don't get a big head now. You ain't seen nothing yet. It's a lot more fun. Way beyond that. First stage Arhat is nothing. Questions? You could say that, I don't believe you, Master. How can this woman be first stage Arhat? How is it possible? Yeah, in the back.
Master, I'm asking for next week's schedule. As you know, we're going to have Emperor Liangzhu repentant on Saturday. Do we still have a Friday lecture like normal?
Yes, we have a normal schedule until next Friday. And then Saturday we begin the Emperor Liang's repentance, which is 8 days, right? Or 7 days? 7 days? And what do we do after that? Sunday, after we finish? Do we take Sunday off or what? 6. Because I know you guys you folks don't realize they've been practicing day and night. You know, they rehearse. What is it? 2-3 times a day? Huh?
5 times.
5 times a day. Wow.
So we start Emperor Liang August 30th, and then we finish September 5th. That is a Friday. So after the Friday, so we have a Saturday, Sundays, a normal weekend schedule.
Okay, so basically next Friday is the last regular schedule. We have Emperor Liang's repentance, and then we resume the normal schedule on Saturday and Sunday after that. Okay? Sounds good? Okay. All right.
Thank you, Master.
Okay. And, you know, each person is different. You know, this woman here, she first says Rahat. It's different because she says, you know, I have a simple life, I have a simple dream, not a problem. But if you are a left-home person, for example, then it says, now I want to have my own temple. Now I teach her to have her own temple because she can take a beating now. She can guide people. So that's why it's a difference between having that, reaching that level, Samadhi level, okay? That's like becoming American, okay? But you still have a lot to learn how to be an American. Okay? So no point getting a big head. It's just the beginning of a journey of self-discovery, what you're capable of doing, what you're capable of absorbing, and so forth. All right? It's a lot more fun. Usually I say that to encourage you to start exploring. And there's some idiots, when I said, you are at this level, he or she said, oh yeah, so I don't have to work anymore? These losers, they don't deserve it. They always, now I can retire. Yeah. When I tell you get to a certain level, the hard work only begins. All right, 1505. We're going. So the point here is that, you see, Samadhi level, when you reach a level, you need to have a lot of blessings. And that blessings level there is yours. Okay? you can draw upon. It's like your own treasure that you take with you every single life. Whereas the money you make right now, the fame you make right now is for this lifetime only. Next lifetime is no longer there. Whereas this blessing she has right now will be there forever for her. Every time she's born, she will have that blessings available to her. It's like a bank account is there. And she can use it to be whatever she wants to be, a monk or nun or a king or a general or a rich woman. It's hers. It's her blessings. Okay? And that's something you can have forever. And therefore, as lay people, they said, they cheat and they steal and they lie and they do all sorts of offenses to become a billionaire. And then next lifetime, they fall and they become poor. So very short-sighted thinking. Okay? Yeah. So this is what's the difference between worldly thinking and transcendental thinking. You build your blessings instead of creating karmas and fall. Okay? Anyway, how many people in the world believe that? This is why you believe it, then your children, your nephews, and nieces will have a better chance to have a better life themselves, better future for themselves. Okay? All right. Going back to the lecture, this is the prologue. Is talking about the Xian Shou classification of Buddhist teachings. First teaching is Hinayana teaching. That's how you become an Arhat and Pratyeka Buddha. So her level is that of Hinayana. And by the way, she's not the only one. I noticed others have reached a second, third, and so forth. Arhats, lay people. And that's too commonplace nowadays. I'm just impressed that a woman who really have no ambition or desire to get first stage Arhat, to cultivate, she just likes coming to the temple, keeping busy, and yet she has a chance of creating enough blessings to be able to get there. You understand? You create blessings, you have enough blessings, you get there. No one can stop you. The environment allows you to create blessings, and then you get there. It's that simple. Okay, no Chan, no Pure Land. I don't know what she does. I'm impressed. All right, so Hinayana teaching. And second teaching is this section here is beginning, initial teaching, initial introduction to Mahayana. Okay, so it's introduction. So it starts, say, you need to have a broader mind. Okay, I want to introduce you to more broader concepts, and therefore keep an open mind. Okay, I'm not going to be able to tell you everything yet. I'm going to do it gradually. That's why it's called initial teaching. Yes, it's the beginning. It's of a brand new world for you. It will be challenging for you, but don't expect to know everything yet. Okay? All right, let's go to the text. The nature that arises dependent on something else, seems to exist and is not non-existent, yet is not identical with true emptiness and being without nature of the perfectly accomplished.
依他起性，似有不无，非即无性，真空圆成。
And by the way, just for your information, I came from a background of hiring a lot of people. I hired a lot of people. And if I knew what I know nowadays, it would be a lot easier for me to hire people. I hire people who can take a beating. Because companies, we invest a lot of resources training you, 6 months, 6 years, and so forth. And if you don't have, if you cannot take a beating, we're basically throwing our investments away. You quit, you run away, and so forth. So that's why, on the other hand, those who can take a beating, they will be able to get higher and higher and higher. Okay, they begin to really enjoy themselves. Taking beating sounds good, it sounds bad, but actually it's very rewarding once you get higher and higher. For taking a beating from XT, okay, now she has this peace, she has this happiness inside of her that no one can take from her. You feel happier, don't you, huh, stupid woman? A little bit, yeah. All right, and we don't put that much emphasis into it because we don't want her to be attached to it either. If you keep on, you start to enjoy it, okay? It's like then you become attached to your $100 million yacht. You keep on going there. You don't realize there's a 200 million yacht you could get, okay? And that's a problem with people. Oh, they become attached to what they get, and they don't realize that they cannot move on. Okay? Enjoy, but don't be attached. Okay? Any questions? I do a lot of things differently. And I used to fret telling people's levels because exactly of this, for the reason is that people would not believe and they start bad-mouthing it. But there's too many of you now. And I find interesting cases, more and more interesting cases. Like her is of interest to me because it's impressive that even she can get there. If she can get there, then any of us can. Okay? Yeah. Why is it many of you aren't there? Because you're so full of yourself. You have a training technology that has proven to work without any discrimination, and you are too smart for your own good. You say, you said, I like this, I don't like this, I don't like that. And no one can touch you because you are too smart. Questions and comments? You don't believe me? Hop on an airplane and take a look at this woman here. Okay, 3 natures. They refer to the state of your mind. Okay, one is the nature everywhere calculated and attached to. That's your intellect. Right there. This is your thinking mind. You're born with it and you train it, and the more you learn, the more you study, this one here, nature everywhere calculated and attached to, only becomes stronger and becomes more dominant. You're so sure of yourself. Okay, I've seen, for example, so many professors, they have this problem, the nature everywhere calculated and attached to. They know so much. Okay? And they don't realize there's also number two, also another thing related to them is they have a nature that arises dependent on something else. Meaning that because they build knowledge, that knowledge leads them to the wrong conclusions. That's a nature that arises dependent on something else. Okay? You have these well-learned people. Okay? They accrue this knowledge. They learn and learn and learn and learn. Okay? The more they learn, now they use deduction. From the learning and they engaging in life, they now make deductions. Okay? So that's something that depending on something means depending on prior knowledge. So far, so good? Okay? Whatever you learn is your knowledge base. And whatever knowledge you deduct from it, then the deduction from that base knowledge is from the nature that arises depend on something else that depends on prior knowledge. It's funny they call it something else, actually your prior knowledge. Okay? So whatever you know misleads you into other in the wrong way that you don't realize. And this is very important. We're not talking about your deduction in your, let's say, your engineer. You calculate you use your calculation to design a bridge. That's good stuff. Number two here refers to the erroneous deductions. So far, so good. We're not saying that all deductions are bad. I'm saying that you cannot tell the difference between good deductions and bad deductions yourself. That's why it's called nature. Nature meaning that it's natural to you, and you don't realize that you're wrong. Okay? And it's very, very dangerous because it's the mix that is confusing. Sometimes you're right most of the time, but if you're wrong sometimes, those few times could be deadly for you. Make sense? Okay, number three, perfectly accomplished real nature. That is, when you have wisdom, transcendental wisdom, prajna wisdom, this is when you have the perfectly accomplished real nature. This is the real you that doesn't depend on your knowledge, does not depend on your intellect, by the way. Okay? Everything you learn out there is basically based on your intellect, based on your thinking mind. What we're teaching you, what we're training you, is for you to activate your real nature, where you does not need to depend on your thinking mind. Case in point, tonight we talked about this old woman here who got a first stage arhat. Okay, she got there because if she were to use the thinking mind and she would work with Xiantou and say, I don't have to take this. This is nonsense. I don't need to take this. I like Master, I like the temple, but I don't need to take it from her. You see, your thinking mind says, no, this doesn't make sense. And that's the nature that arises depend on that prior knowledge. You see that? And because of that, would stop you from going to number 3. That's why it's so damaging. Your knowledge, your intellect, your reasoning, your deductions can lead you to a lot more suffering and damnation, if you want to use the Catholic terminology. I see it. I see people making that mistake. But I try to drop hints, but they say, no. Oh, Master, you don't understand. You don't understand my family. You don't understand me. I have obligations to my family. I trust my family. I don't trust you. That's the bottom line. I know them. They've been with me all my life. You unproven. Yes, DTT.
마스터, 그러면 저희가 소지장이 있는데 소지장과 직접적인 관련이 있는 게 변계집성인지 의타기성인지가 질문입니다.
주민님 죄송한데 다시 한번 해주시겠어요?
네. 저희가 소지장에 직접적인 관련이 있는 게 변계집성인지 의타기성인지가 질문이에요.
그게 뭐예요? So the attachment, the obstruction of knowledge, is it calculated and attached to, or is it the nature that arises dependent on something else?
It's different uses. Don't need to lump them together. When we teach you in Buddhism these different concepts, it's designed to help you deal with a certain kind of problems. You don't need to combine them. Okay, they're used differently. Okay. Yeah, they can be explained by combining together, but it's not going to help you. Okay, it's something that you will naturally understand once you have your own wisdom. For me to break it down and help you make the connection is not going to help you get there. It only demonstrates that I understand, but it's not going to help you get there. That's why I don't explain a lot of things to you. Okay, the point being that you don't need to go there in order to get higher. All right, and so the 3 natures, meaning it's a state of mind that you are in. That you have 1 and 2 are reigning, okay? And state of mind 1 is that you are calculative. You're calculating constantly, benefit, loss, okay? And when you see benefit and losses, you grab, you attach to. Okay, and then the second kind of state of mind is that with that base knowledge, you know that gold and Bitcoin are very good, okay, very good forms of investment. Now, number two, the nature arises depend on something else. Now, based on that knowledge, you develop, let's say, schemes to invest in gold, invest in Bitcoins and so forth. That's a nature that arises depend on something else. That knowledge there makes you become attached now to your investments. You see that? So before, you simply are attached to that knowledge of gold and Bitcoin. And now, from there, okay, you form a stronger attachment not only to gold and Bitcoin, but through the form of money investment, financial investments. So it gets worse for you. You engaged more. You got deeper into your confusion. And you tell yourself, I'm a winner. I'm so smart. I'm so sophisticated. Okay? And what you don't realize is that this process here, the entire process here, is to help you undo these two natures so that you can reach your real nature, which is bellissimo. Okay? It will make you happy. The first two natures make you unhappy. Questions? Okay, and so Master YongHua, this is the traditional way of explaining this. The nature everywhere calculated attached to is that you walk along in the dark and you see something long, and your first reaction is that, because many of you are depressed, you say, oh, it's a snake. Okay, and you become terrified. Anyone afraid of the dark? Yeah? And so that's the nature everywhere calculated and attached to. Okay, and then once you get closer, you see that actually it's not a snake, it's just a rope. Okay, so this is that nature. It says, okay, and you stop being scared, and it's a nature that arises depends on something else. So because you get closer, you get a clearer vision, a lot of factors come in, you realize, actually it's a rope, it's not a snake. So this is the nature dependent on prior knowledge. Okay, you shift mode into the mind, and now shifting into a state where I'm comfortable, because it's not a snake. Actually, it looks more like a rope. All right, and so that's the nature of the state of your mind. So far, so good? And once you, but you also realize that, should also realize that even though you realize there's a rope, okay, you still are attached to that knowledge now, the knowledge of a rope. You should, if you had wisdom, you realize the rope actually is empty as well. That refers to the perfectly accomplished nature. Okay, real wisdom. Okay, and so this is the three natures here are only designed to help you see how your mind functions, how it becomes attached. Okay, and this is very dangerous. The more knowledge you have, the easier it is for you to go shift mode into a second nature that arises depending on something else. Okay, first you become scared out of normally, and then because when you see a rope, you see his rope and not a snake, that's when you shift new gear into the second nature that arises from that goes from being scared into relaxed. Okay, and in that process, okay, you simply shift state into necessarily a better state at all. Okay, whereas the real state of wisdom is when you are attached to neither, not attached to a potential snake, nor attached to the hemp or the rope. Okay? That you never give yourself a chance to understand and let your true nature take over. So Master Sheo explains that, excuse me, because of these attachments you have built in that you seek, mankind seek in their entire lifetimes, they become attached to existence and non-existence. Existence is attached to that all the knowledge they have, prior knowledge. Therefore, they think it's a snake. Okay, that's an attachment. Okay, when they realize that it's really not a snake but a rope, now becomes attachment to not being a snake or non-existence. That's also causes confusions for you. Okay, existence. If you think it's a snake, you panic. And you drop your purse, okay, and that's not a good thing. And when you realize it's a rope, then you bend down, pick up your purse, and then you happen to touch a real snake that you did not see. You see, so it has problems. They all have problems. Attachment to the existence of a snake or non-existence of snakes could still cause problems for you. Okay? So that's why you're attached to your discrimination, short and long. All right? And this is what happens to ordinary people. And this next sentence here, I don't know what they're talking about. I could go back to the Chinese, but I think it's more funny to leave it this way because this is what happens to you if you try to learn from these translations. Try to make sense out of it, because Dharma interpenetrates without obstruction. You can make these three natures correspond to three vehicles and take contemplation, equate ordinary common people who attach to what is false with the false assumption a rope is a snake. I don't know how they came up with this through the Chinese text, but don't worry, it doesn't matter, it's nonsense. Okay, so furthermore, it's for our reference. This is why we want to tell you this is Hinayana, this is Bevan, this is Mahayana, this is Hinayana, Mahayana, because I want you, it's not simply words. They're actually trying clues to tell you that about their limitations. If you don't believe me, at least beware of it, and eventually you see why that when you talk to them, they can only understand so much, so far, can go so far, and then they they get stuck. Okay, YouTube.
네, 이승남님의 질문입니다. 지난 토요일 법의 종지 강설 시 팔식과 오성에 대해 말씀하셨는데 팔식과 자성의 차이점과 오성에 대해 보완 설명 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다, 마스터.
Last Saturday, this is question from Lee Seung-nam. Master, last Saturday you talked about, when you were talking about the guiding principles, you mentioned eighth consciousness and five nature. I want to know what's the difference between the eighth consciousness and self-nature, and could you please explain more about the five nature?
There are different things. The eighth consciousnesses are what you are using to interact with the outside world. Your body needs to go through the eighth consciousnesses to deal with the world. The five sense organs bring you in external data, and the sixth sense organ, which is the mind, will put it together and arrive at a conclusion, and you decide it's a snake. Okay? Number 7, consciousness is the ego says, whoa, I'm in danger. I don't like this. Okay? I'm not safe. So the ego, it's about liking and disliking. Look at that. And this is meant to remind you, okay? If you're so prone to liking and disliking, you are very egotistical. Okay? So that's 7 consciousness. And the 8th consciousness is a store consciousness, meaning that it stores everything. It has a record of everything that happens in your life. That's the idea behind it. Okay? And the Buddha nature is your original nature, where that manifests itself through these 8 consciousnesses. These 8 consciousnesses cannot function without the Buddha nature. Okay? So you know that your 8 consciousness is what everyone have, they use in their daily life, whether they like it or not. Okay? And they don't realize that these are actually manifestations of who they really are, the Buddha nature. So far, so good. They're 2 different things. What about the five natures? The 5 nature refers to Buddha sees that. He said, you have 8 consciousness and you have the Buddha nature here. Buddha came to the world and says, in order for me to help you use your 8 consciousnesses to get back to your Buddha nature, okay, I will teach you different methodologies. All right? So these methodologies, the first one is Hinayana, which teaches you to have some wisdom, some minimum wisdom that will call you a sound hearer, either Arhat or Pratyeka Buddha. Okay, and then you have another nature, which is those people who are bodhisattvas. They practice and they understand, so they reach a level of the nature where now a little bit closer to the Buddha nature. Okay. And of course, number 3 is the Buddha. Therefore, that ultimately you become a Buddha, you connect with your Buddha nature, you actually become a Buddha yourself. That's 3 natures. 3 natures, Arhats, Pratyeka Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, 3. All the 3 are a little bit closer. Arhat is this way, Pratyeka Buddha is much, Bodhisattva is much, and Buddha nature is right over here. Okay? So that's how you can tell how close you are to your Buddha nature. Okay? And there's an unfixed nature where it's not evolved yet. You're not classified as either an Arhat or Pratyeka Buddha or Bodhisattva yet. That's why you're not classified. And number 5 is no Buddha nature, which will be explained a little bit later. Okay, this is at this level of the initial teaching. That's why they still distinguish the 5 natures. Okay, again, you don't need to understand everything. All I want you to do is to listen to it, and then in the future, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, when you get to your level, you say, I heard of it before, now it makes sense. That's all. There's no way for you to understand everything in one shot. But all you can do is to try to hear and learn about one piece of the puzzle, okay? Another piece, another piece, another piece, and so forth, which will help you eventually find a way for you to integrate them so that you're able, let's say we talked tonight about someone who's got the first stage arhatship. It's about when you reach that level, that means you're able to understand some pieces of the puzzle already. Okay? So for us to explain that to you is easier for you to understand it. So that's why when I tell first stage Arhat, I can explain more to you, a few more pieces of the puzzle to you, but I will not go further than that because you're not ready yet. Okay? So that's all it means. You don't have to understand everything. Be more humble. It's so much more. It's a lot more than simply reading a lot of words, reading a lot of sutras. Okay? It's good to read sutras, it's good to study sutras, good to memorize sutras and so forth. Those are very good. But what also very much more important is a process to help you be able to piece puzzles together. That's called Samadhi power. Samadhi is the force that binds puzzle pieces together, that allows them to connect. If they don't connect, they lose. You will not be able to see the shape. Okay? So that's why, yes, it's important to read. They will always be useful, but those reading basically to you right now, you don't have the Samadhi power, basically are just loose pieces of puzzles. They're all over. The one that when you first bought a puzzle set, you open it, it's like, it falls out, it's a big mess. That's what happens when you read a lot of sutras. It's a big mess. You think you understand, but you don't. Okay? You may know a lot of words, but you don't know how they fit together. And again, your samadhi is what helps them fit together and stay there. So even though she doesn't know many pieces of puzzles yet, all I have to do is teach her a few puzzles and say, it makes sense to me. And she can then transmit those pieces of puzzles to her disciples, to her friends and her people. See that? So what do you want? It has to be a combination of learning the words, learning the concept like lectures here, but equally important is for you to build your samadhi power, the blessings that bring you to your samadhi power. This is what happened. This is what's deficient in Mahayana nowadays. They don't help you create blessings. And that's why I chuckled at Chinese Mahayana, because that's what they do. They emphasize learning. I de-emphasize it. This is where I call the American Mahayana, because I'm not worried about you learning. Okay? I see pitfalls in people who know too much already. People who memorize too much. Okay? They're bookworms. Okay? But they cannot bind the pieces together. Without this, okay, you will not make it. They don't have, this is the drawback of the Chinese Asian Mahayana. Like even Master YongHua, the emphasis is too much on knowledge, on learning. And that's why you have disciples who have PhDs or total idiots. They don't understand anything. But look at them and say, 30 years, 40 years, that's all you get? My disciples, they're higher than you. All I have to do is teach them, put them together. Yes, it's true they don't know as much as you, but they can fit the pieces together. You cannot. Who's teaching you to fit them together? Everyone, it makes it easier. Everyone say, I know the Nirvana Sutra, I know Lotus Sutra, I know Avatamsaka Sutra, and all those things. But they don't know how they fit together. And unfortunately, I have so many disciples who are very smart, who are reasonably smart, and who think they got it, but they fail to pass the tests. Go forest. Everything happens for a reason, folks. You're so sure of yourself.
Emitofuo, Master. I think for us, the regular people, we live and act using the calculate. So when we see something dangerous, the first thought or the thinking to protect itself is very fast. The most we can do, record. So it come out so fast. We recognize it. We calm situation. See here that the real growth. That we can do. And the realization of the rope is empty for the bodhisattva is level above us. But what I try to say is it happened very fast. How should we act? How should we respond correctly this situation? You please teach.
You respond by being yourself. That's how you are. When you see something and looks like a snake, be scared. It's better to be scared than no, I don't want to be scared. That's stupidity. It's better to be scared. What do you want from me? You want to tell me, you want to hear that, don't be scared? And what if you see a real snake?
I think it's very, very interesting that our mind develop different. Buddha teach us different level.
I tell you, give you an example. I give you an example. When I first started, there used to be a Hinayana monk, a Cambodian monk, but he practiced in the Thai tradition. So he had a lot of Thai disciples and Cambodian disciples in the Hinayana tradition. Okay, he has a temple and everything. And he is a first stage arhat. Okay, and I don't know why they praise him so much that I almost left the DRBA to follow him. That's how bad it was. These people, these Master Hsuan disciples are full of crap. Okay? That's why I'm a lot blunter with you nowadays. Anyway, so this guy here, he's a monk, and in their tradition, they practice in the wilderness, which is very impressive. So they learn how to do these parasols and make it waterproof, so that when you in the monsoon season, it rains a lot, and so you need to have this parasol to protect yourself, because they need to, in the morning, they need to go to a village, to beg for food and come back and eat every day. Okay, so you need a parasol. So you need to make tents and mosquito nets and so forth to take care of himself. And he told me, one of these days he was cultivating a forest by himself in his tent. He usually finds, put his tent somewhere far enough away from villagers, so that he can cultivate by himself, no one bothers him. And so he says, one day he was walking on the road to the village to beg for food on the alms bowl rounds. And then he came back. He got some food, he came back. And he realized the same path, and realized that, wow, there's some footprints look like a tiger. Okay, so then he realized, the tiger is actually following him. As he's walking towards the village, the tiger is following him. Okay, when he started walking back, the tiger went away. Yeah. So then he says, he told me, he said, son, the tigers, somehow he decided not to attack me. Okay, the tiger is looking for food too. Okay, but apparently either he had too much curry or something, or garlic or something. We don't know. Tiger, but then he laughed and said, tigers can sense your energy. Okay, when he senses my energy, he says, I'm going to attack this guy. And he's a first stage arhat, by the way. Okay, he's like that old woman there. 30 years ago, I could have left my career and follow her to learn from her. Thank you. Okay, how stupid I was. So anyway, my point being that, if you're scared, you're scared. So what's the big deal? Okay? It's natural to be scared. But if you happen to be in a first stage arhat, Samadhi, you won't be scared. So depending on your state of mind, you will react differently. Nothing to worry about. Okay? Just because you think it's a snake and it's not a snake, you don't have to beat yourself up and say how stupid you are. Hey, that's all we have. That's what we have to work with. It's perfectly okay. It's just like when you chose a wife. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. If you knew now, I mean, you see what I mean? So we make do. It's no big deal. Okay? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. Okay? It's more important to recover from the mistakes. I always tell you, but he never listens. The point being that there's nothing to worry about. You know, if you are temporarily confused, you mistake it as a snake. Okay? You're scared. But then, so it's no harm at all. If it's this real snake, okay, then it's a good thing you're scared. You see? Yeah. But on the other hand, your first stage arhat, maybe you won't be as scared, and maybe the snake will not bite you. Maybe it will bite you. We don't know. So, what's a big deal? Life goes on. Okay? That's all. I'll tell you another funny thing. Suppose the tiger attacked the old monk, the old Thai monk, Cambodian monk. Okay? You realize that at his first stage arhat level, he can be faster than a tiger. You know, the tiger comes and trying to eat him, he can take a finger and poke it in the eye, and the tiger, oh! It can be that fast. Okay? I would not advise you to try it. Okay? But you never know what you're capable of when you're in that situation. Trust me, you are so fast in the first stage of hardship that you're much faster than a tiger, I assure you. Much faster than a snake. Can I just strike you? You grab it by the head and say, "That's how fast you are." I would not advise you to try it out, okay? I run first. Okay? So there's so many variations. Don't worry. Okay? We learn about these things. It's a lot more than we're telling you. It's a lot more fun. Let me tell you, at her level, that stupid woman there, she's so fast if she knows how to get into that state. Okay? But on the other hand, even though she's that fast, when her karmic retribution comes, because she killed that snake already, you know what happened? The snake will be faster than she is. There's so many different variations. Okay? Yeah? Relax.
Thank you, Master.
But if you get bit by that snake, your wife will send you to the Pure Land. Your wife probably come to me and beg for help. I said, no, go to bed. Then I laugh. Okay? You're so serious. Okay? There's so many variations. So, moving on. Slide 1510. This is interesting. This is for your knowledge, for your reference. Master YongHua says, okay, the Hinayana people, the sound hearers and the enlightened conditions are attached to existence. Just for your reference, you don't need to believe or understand, okay? For your reference only. When you get higher, you see, these people are attached to existence. You can only explain so far to them. You try to tell them too much, they say, no, I don't believe you. Okay? This is why we're learning this, because many of you are much higher than that. Therefore, you need to see that when you begin to explain to people, okay, and they're aware Hinayana stuff, Tibetan stuff, and stuff like that, you know that there's only so much you can explain to them. Okay? Because they're attached to existence. Okay? They maybe that they don't see a snake, they realize it's not a snake, but they still attached to existence. Okay? Whereas, in contrast, for us Mahayana people, we take a look, the Bodhisattva, they realize it's empty. Okay? And that's the difference between Mahayana and Hinayana. In Mahayana, we can drop it a lot faster, in other words. Okay? And if you get high level, now you go into middle way where the real fun begins. Okay? You go too much in the middle way, then we'll have mass desertion. Most of you, especially people online, say, I don't believe you. When people quiz and describe what they think, okay, so he goes a lot into this, into this. And my interest is for you to be aware of these terminologies, and more importantly, because many of you are learning the advanced side of Mahayana, okay? So that's why I need you to be aware that others who are not prepared like you, I spent 20 years preparing many of you. That's why I push harder and harder. I get more, deeper and deeper. But you, when it's your turn to push, you realize what I had to go through. For 20 years, I only can push you so far and I back off. So far and back off. So far and back off. Because of your limitations. That's all there is to it. Don't worry so much about these words. Okay? Don't need to understand everything. Many people who know a lot more than you, like the old man at JC there, he knows a lot. He loves to learn about the Buddhist concepts. He knows a lot of concepts, but he cannot put the puzzles together. Okay, and so the jargon here in Buddhist and Mahayana is that seem to exist and yet not non-existent. Okay, so yes, it seems to be real. Okay, but you cannot deny that it's not real either. Okay, and so they go through this, and then Master Qingliang and Master Xuan go into this, and I said that this is fine, and this is good for you scholars to learn the jargons, but my interest is not the scholarly perspective. My interest is for you to be exposed to these concepts, so that you challenge yourself and say, oh, there's a lot more that I can go, a lot further I can go, and I want to be able to one day put these puzzle pieces together, okay? And really understand more and enjoy more about how complete of a knowledge that's you've been prepared for all these years. It's so cool. That's why I think we should try to share with others and help others become less full themselves, thinking they know everything. Okay, there's so much more that it's not, again, it's not how much you know, it's how big of a picture that you can envision. Mahayana this big, okay? Hinayana that they learn this much, okay? Probably smaller. And the Buddha spent decades teaching them. That's how much they know. And yet, it's a tiny piece of the big picture. Okay? It's cool. You can spend your entire life learning about these things. Okay? That's still Hinayana. Okay, so that's where we are with this text. And can I finish the next slide? So he talked about the three natures, and he went through, unfortunately for me, a little bit too scholarly for me. I don't think it's that useful, even for scholars. You see, this is my dilemma. If you're a scholar, I know you know about these words, but it's no way for me to train you to be able to piece them together, because you know too much now. You think you know more than I do. Therefore, why should you learn from me? Okay? And so you are at the advantage here because I meter it out for you. I only wanting you to know so much. As soon as you go into scholarly side, that's when I pull you back and say, no, don't go for PhDs because you can get in trouble. Okay? Because you really think you know more than I do. You don't, trust me. I only think of one professor who knows more than I do. Okay, I've never met him, but I know from his paper that this guy is no regular professor. That's all I know. Okay, and so this is where I feel the Master Shenhua falls short, because if one day some of you who decided to go for a PhD, okay, let it be you go to PhD and start like what we do, American PhD or American Mahayana, American Chan, because you bring new perspectives on how to study and earn a PhD, new standards on how to earn a PhD in Buddhism, okay? Which has to be a combination of knowledge and samadhi. Most professors have zero samadhi. That's why I've never been impressed, except for one professor, including Master Shenhua's disciples. Okay? Yeah. None of them have enough samadhi power to really understand Mahayana. And the litmus test is that you understand Mahayana. You know what the top is? Do you understand certain teaching? Buddha's, he opened his mouth, is certain teaching. Six-page chart, certain teaching. Beautiful certain teaching. Master Shenhua, 25% teaching at best. Okay, stop here tonight. Thank you, everyone.